So Thursday again, it's our
Thursday.
MDW Weekend Inspiration, and today we have The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Yes. Why?
Which way?
Let's tell everybody why we decided to speak about or to talk about The Exorcist.
Well, it was your choice, so you should say. But I think it might have something to do with the fact that the amazing Dick Smith did the makeup effect for us.
Sí, bueno, pues escogimos El Exorcista justamente porque el maestro, el maquillista estrella detrás de todos los efectos especiales de El Exorcista, pues es Dick Smith. Y pues cabe recalcar, es importante, muy importante mencionar que Dick Smith fue maestro, el mentor de Kevin, ¿no? Entonces también esa es otra de las razones por las que, pues bueno, vamos a estar hablando un poco de pues todos estos efectos que trae consigo El Exorcista y toda la historia detrás que trae también El Exorcista, ¿no?
Yes. And we could talk a little bit more about that later, but yes, Dick was very, very generous with information. So 1973, a movie about a 13, 14-year-old girl gets possessed by
a demon.
Devil. I mean, it was a novel first. William Peter Blatty wrote a novel about a little girl that gets possessed because it's like who would be the most vulnerable person to be possessed by the devil? It's like a little girl. And what would be the most shocking when she turns evil, would be like a little girl.
Sí, es como la persona que escogió, que escribió esta novela, es como pensó qué sería lo más shocking, lo más alarmante, como lo más raro de ver, ¿no? De que alguien pudiera ser poseído. Entonces dijo, no, pues una niña pequeña, tiene una edad de 12 años, y pues justamente es a la que posee este demonio, ¿no? Que bueno, a lo largo de la película después dicen que es el demonio, el diablo mismo. Entonces, bueno, pues justamente esto es algo de lo que tiene la película de impactante. Yes.
At least in a movie, because I remember being 13 and we were all pretty shocking, but the grown-ups didn't know.
You had to hide it, no? Like, no, everything is okay.
They're terrible. And it's kind of, if you watch it today, modern audiences might not really understand the impact that it had when it came out.
Okay.
Because it's slow to start, and then it gets creepy and good at the end.
Yes.
But that's how movies were made and stories were told, that there's a build-up and you invest a certain amount of time in a story.
Sí, bueno, que hoy en día tal vez las generaciones no lo entenderían tan bien, y porque, bueno, pues en ese entonces es una película un poco lenta en el sentido de que la primera hora es algo muy, muy tranquilo, está contando la historia primero, y después la siguiente hora ya es algo más terrorífico, ya es algo más impactante, ¿no? Entonces, pero bueno, pues es justamente como, pues esta parte que la hace tan interesante.
Because nowadays audiences are so jaded, they've seen.
Claro.
In the 40 years, it's like every 5 minutes there has to be like a incredible action sequence where Manhattan is destroyed and the giant robots are doing something, or Avengers, it's that kind of thing. So it's a little bit slow for today's audiences, but it's an interesting story, just like a little study of mostly her mother being so afraid and not knowing what to do.
Yes.
And the little girl, like what's happening to me.
Sí, bueno, pues justamente lo que pasa es que pues ahora las generaciones o las audiencias, más que las generaciones, estamos ya más acostumbradas a que las películas son súper rápidas, ¿no? Imágenes, acción, como comenta Kevin, ¿no? Pone de ejemplo los Avengers y todas estas películas de acción. Pues bueno, justamente ver o regresar a una película en donde hay algo más lento, una trama, pues se hace como tal vez difícil, ¿no? Pero bueno, justamente en ese entonces pues era algo, fue una película muy esperada y bueno, también justamente como esta parte de la mamá que no sabe qué hacer, que no sabe cómo ayudarla, ¿no?
So yeah, so it was kind of a shocking movie, almost in a way that like a little more than 10 years before Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock movie Psycho was shocking. You know, that it was very violent for that era, that Exorcist was very violent for that era.
Yes, we were just like in the point where movies were like starting to be a little bit more than black and white and like weird zombies maybe, or like slow movies. They were starting like to go a little bit further, no? Like you said, like a little bit more blood, a little bit more disgusting, a little bit more like trying to go there.
Well, the 70s was an amazing time with movies of just kind of exploration and experimentation of like different things. And there were so many movies that I still love today that I saw in the 70s that would never be made today. People, the studio would look at it and say, like, why? Because it was kind of existential. It was sort of, there's no explanation for the characters' actions. Mm-hmm. He or she just did them because they felt like it. And there's no real, like every movie now has to have a backstory.
Yeah.
And then you see like why they act this way. Like it didn't used to be that. It's just like, here's just a movie about what's happening right now. And it was just like, all right. And you're either invested in it or you're not, you know.
Yeah, back then, no?
Yeah, and I just love those movies.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I'm not sure why this guy's doing that, but it's like, okay, he's doing it.
Bueno, básicamente lo que estamos platicando es que pues en los 70s fue un periodo en el que se pudo experimentar un poco más con las películas. Estaba platicando o mencionando, Kevin, la película de Psicosis de Alfred Hitchcock, en donde justamente es una película violenta, ¿no? Un poquito con sangre, todo esto. Y bueno, yo le decía que justamente era como que una época en las películas en donde se iban atreviendo un poquito más a hacer cada vez más, ¿no? Un poquito más sangriento, un poquito más violento, un poquito más asqueroso, un poquito más de miedo. Y bueno, pues justamente él comenta que en ese entonces se podían hacer inversiones en películas o en historias que no tuvieran un background, que no tuvieran un antecedente, que no tuvieras que estar explicando por qué sucede esto o de dónde viene esto, sino que justamente solamente es un periodo de tiempo y ya, o sea, está pasando esto y pues ya está pasando, ¿no? Entonces, era algo pues interesante en los años 70 de esta experimentación que se estaba llevando con las películas. Yes.
Yeah, so it was a cool time for movies. Okay, so Exorcist, 1973, Dick Smith is making these effects.
I need to say first that yesterday yes. I saw it in Spanish. So it was so different because of course I've seen it before and I saw it. I even went to the movie theater and saw it like when I was in secondary school. It was like 2003 or 2 when they, like, how do you say it in English? Remasterizar, when they like cleaned the movie.
Oh, like a reissue or remaster.
Yes, they did that, and they even.
Did they do when she
exactly
like the spider?
That's what I was gonna say. You stole my sentence.
Right.
that was the one when they even said that, no, they were advertising it like, oh, come and see the movie, and we have like the
Right.
new scene, and I saw that, and it was so.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember Dick saying that you could see the wires, and that was the main reason why they didn't use it, because she has a harness on.
Ah.
And so they're holding her weight as she comes down the stairs.
Okay.
And I guess over the years they just digitally erased the wires out.
Yeah.
And,
mira, that's interesting because I've seen like several or different reviews about this effect, and no one or neither of them say about these wires, or they even mention about that was the reason they didn't put it in the movie. They just say like, oh well, now they just added it, or they didn't like it back then. But it's so amazing that you are like sharing this thing, because Dick told you, no? Dick shared that to you, or shared that, and it's like, that's so cool.
I think that's what it is. I remember him saying something about like, and it could have been, there could have been maybe a couple of seconds where it looked really good, and you didn't see the wires, and maybe it just looked it didn't fit into the movie when the director was editing. Just in his mind, it's like it's too much, too soon.
Okay.
What else? But I think it was because you could actually see
the wires.
The visible.
Okay, let me just translate. Bueno, estábamos platicando que vi la película ayer, pero la vi en español, entonces fue muy raro para mí. Y justamente le decía a Kevin que ya la había visto en inglés, la vi hace muchos años cuando estaba en la secundaria, en el 2003 o en el 2002, cuando salió una versión remasterizada de esto. Y bueno, pues justamente es en el momento en el que meten esta escena donde la Stone, la doble de Linda Blair, va hacia atrás en la escalera, y dice Kevin que, bueno, Dick Smith le platicó que esta escena no estaba en la película original al principio, porque bueno, pues porque justamente no se ven los cables, ¿no? A ella la tienen agarrada con un arnés. Entonces, bueno, pues así, por eso no se ve y no sale esta imagen, no sale esta escena. Y bueno, ya después de muchos años, ya de manera digital se pueden borrar los hilos, y por eso es que también la incluyen en la nueva versión remasterizada. Entonces ya es que la podemos ver. Ok.
Okay. Where to?
So yeah, so I was telling about this part, like I saw it in Spanish, and I was just like watching it, and I saw like the first 1 hour of the movie, and it was like slow, like we said in the beginning, but then the first like strong scene,
like almost a Halloween mood. There's a lot of like orange leaves blowing around, like it seems kind of Halloweenish.
Yeah.
Elaine always liked that. I like that.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah. So then, it's the first strong scene that I can like saw is the bed, no? That goes like this, right. And then it jumps, and then suddenly Regan is just like bending really strong and really like weird way. And I was thinking, like, is it just like a dummy or how?
Yes, her mother is very confused and upset. Mm-hmm. Something is wrong with her daughter, and she can't figure out why. And it gets progressively worse.
Yeah.
And then she just freaks out that time. I think that's Eileen Dietz, who was the stunt double for Linda Blair. I don't think that would have been Blair. I think they would put Dietz in there for that.
But that's amazing. It's just like the like how they had to prepare themselves for these scenes, because like another one really strong or hard to do, it's the one with the throw. it's like she has to bend and to move and to make like the movements to, how do you say, like to be with the normal way to do it, no? Like the anatomy or the yeah. I don't know how to say it.
The vomiting?
Yes.
That was again Eileen Dietz, who was Linda Blair's stunt double, kind of like Cliff and Rick. For I don't know how many days they did that, maybe just one day. Eileen Dietz had to have this rig that Dick Smith made that was tubes that ran up behind her head, her body and her head, and into her mouth. And then there was a plate inside where they would point out. And it was on a rig that was like a plexiglass or some kind of plastic that was heat formed to her face. And it was almost like a horse has a bit in his mouth. And then the prosthetics, Dick made these special different prosthetics that just covered both sides. And then they put the wig on and the makeup and everything. All day long, she had to sit like that with her mouth open. And then when they went ready to go, they had a big pumper and they would shoot
vegetables.
Soup.
See?
I was going to put it here like the lava lamp, but it's not in the shot. I was doing set dressing. Yeah, so it was that, and then they could pump it slow. There's some shots where she's like laying there. And
yeah, that's so amazing because, like I said before, it's like the movement of the body, like to know how to do it, like to know how to bend, like to crack it, or like to, I don't know. It's like, because it's it's not a weird movie, but difficult, no? Like how am I gonna do it, like for my body to look like it's possessed, like being possessed for a demon?
There are, for her flipping up and down on the bed, I'm not sure if there were guys behind it, because there were guys behind the wall just like shaking the bed.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it just looks like a boring day on a movie set. You know, it's like, okay, shake a bed. And then you look at the outside and she's like, my bed's shaking. But behind there's like two guys, like with stick moving the bed. I don't know if she seemed to be going a little too extreme to actually be doing her own sit-ups. Maybe she was on some kind of rig. I'm not sure about that, but I assume that was Eileen Dietz. But yeah, you get into a more extreme, like, I think that, and again, I think that's why purposely it was kind of slow to start, because once it starts going, and especially in that era, things are getting like progressively worse for the mother. Like she's freaking, like the kid's doing that. It's like, what the hell do I do now? Like, my kid's doing this,
Yeah, let me just say.
Okay.
Translate a little bit. No, I'm not gonna translate all of it, but just like the idea. Bueno, pues que justamente es interesante pensar cómo es que los dobles tienen su trabajo de hacer que el cuerpo se vea como si realmente estuviera poseído, ¿no? Por un demonio. Es como pensar como, ¿cómo le voy a hacer? Es todo un trabajo físico, es un trabajo de poder hacer una representación, de doblarse, de hacer, por ejemplo, las arcadas para cuando va a vomitar. Entonces estamos hablando justamente de esta parte de cómo es que resolvieron el vómito. Y bueno, dice Kevin que Dick Smith puso unas mangueras aquí y después puso unas prótesis, hizo 2 prótesis para cubrir esas mangueras. y bueno, ya después por alguien por detrás hace la inyección del vómito, sale y bueno, pues es sopa de chícharos, ¿no? Por eso se ve así toda verde. Y bueno, pues básicamente es eso, ¿no? Esa parte. Yes. I said it like really...
Well, and it hit the actor. It was supposed to hit him in the chest, but it hit him in the face.
Uh-huh.
And they left it in the movie because he felt. And it wasn't supposed to do that, but it's like.
It's an icon now. That one, the vomiting in the face, and the one with the other priest, like it just like spit in the eye. It's like very representative. Es muy representativo de la película. Okay, so that was the first scene, like very like strong scene, is the one in the bed. Then there is another one after that where they are like making the tests in the hospital, and then you see the neck like glowing. And that one is like, ew.
And it's a very simple thing. The bladder, the air bladder. Yeah, and it's just a balloon, kind of. If you think of it, basically, it's just a balloon with a prosthetic over it to look like skin.
Okay.
And so the balloon blows up, and she looks like a bullfrog. It goes up and goes down.
But it's like, as I know, or like as I understood the procedure of that, like to make that, it's like the latex and with the gauze, no? Like the cheese.
It depends. On one side, yes, you would put cheesecloth so that one side stays flat.
Okay.
This side inflates.
Okay.
You don't. If you put it on both sides, then neither side inflates. But if you put it only on one side, something like cheese, it's not allowed to stretch. It just stays, and so all the air, all the energy goes to this side. So it goes up, and then there's a prosthetic on top, and
you just like put some air in it, like with the okay. That's how you do it, no? Okay, so and then the second like scene is when with the head.
Oh, when she turns around. Well, they did a full. That poor girl, Linda Blair, when she was a kid, she had so many life casts done, and they did a full body cast of her, like everything. And I've had that done, and it's not the most fun thing in the world. I've had that in me. And they made like a duplicate little puppet dummy of her. And it was not overly mechanized. They didn't need it to do a whole lot. They made it so the eyes could look left and right. Not even up and down, and no eyelid movements. Okay. The face was fiberglass. It was like you could knock on it.
Wow.
Like a car. Yeah, it wasn't rubber. It was fiberglass. And the head could turn. And that's really all it could do. The body didn't
move or anything. No.
No, I think the arm moves in one shot, and I think they might have just put a monofilament and just kind of pulled it for a shot.
But there were just one dummy? Like, it was just one that did that, the head?
Well, there was a makeup that was approved. Just when Dick went through so many... Okay, here we go into this.
Okay.
Dick tried so many different makeup looks for Linda Blair as Reagan. And he has said in interviews, and he said to me, it was so difficult because she had such a round face and was such a pretty little girl. Like, how do you make her a demon? Unless you just make like like a big demon mask on her, and that would defeat the purpose. It's like just make her look scary. And it's like, no. And they went through a lot of different versions, and they got the one that production said, okay, this one looks good. And so Dick started making the prosthetics, and he made the dummy head for the scene with the head spinning around.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? Nah, this isn't good enough. That would be a problem.
See.
And that was actually one of Rick Baker's first jobs, was to go to New York to work with Dick and help him repair, because now Dick came up with, it's like he's backed up against the wall. It's like, wow, what am I going to do? And he came up with the ultimate look that everyone agreed on and everyone approved on. And it actually is like an amazing solution, you know, to just kind of go with her around. Like, don't try to change it, just kind of work within it. It's hard for an artist to know where to go, like, at the moment. It seems very easy in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like, what you do, yeah, and what would be the good solution. I'm getting very far away from your original question. Rick came out, they sawed the face off of the fiberglass with the Dremel. They took it off. Dick resculpted it. They did the whole thing and put it back on, and
with the new
design.
Oh,
the
okay.
ultimate.
Yeah, well, he was all the time like trying to be, well, he wanted like to be perfect, you know. He was always like trying to experiment, to do everything like he felt it, you know, like with the heart, like he like, yeah, this looks good, and he followed that.
Right.
I never met him, but it seems like he did like that.
Well, and there was even when that happened, when they finally, the production locked into this design that I don't know if Dick was even all that happy with it. I don't remember if we ever discussed that. Maybe somebody did. He made tongues for Linda Blair, like she sticks her tongue out really long. And he took an extra one and he wrote, "I quit." And he put it on, he walked in the office, and he told me that story. And it's like, it seems so silly for Dick. He didn't seem like that kind of guy to do something like that. But he was like, just so like, I can't take it anymore. It's like everyone keeps changing their minds. And I think it was really because he wasn't satisfied with the look too. I mean, production could have made him, you know, do like, this one's fine, go with it. But I think not talking for Dick, but you know, years later, I'm sure he was glad that had happened, because it ended up with a really creepy. You see Linda Blair, like this really pretty little girl, being this like scary thing at the end. It's like that was the right way to go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, let's keep going with the other things I have. So because of that, what you're saying about like the look and the way he designed the whole look of Regan or Linda Blair, for me, when I see the movie and when I feel like I am in the movie, like watching it very closely, I know it's nice, like, or not nice, but it's like disgusting to see the colors, the greens, the purples, the yellows, no? But then I don't know if I would have taken that decision about those colors. Like, I see them now, and I see like, I can see that it's blue, it's purple, like very purple, very greenish, and I don't know. I don't know. It's like a very interesting choice of colors for
Like
that.
for bruises.
Yes, for the bruises, because it's also like a very green, like even fluorescent. No, I don't know. Like that's like my point of
It
view.
could be what version of the movie you're looking at. If it's been color corrected. It's
Okay.
what film stock it was shot on, and then it has been corrected years later.
Yeah, you're right.
There's all kinds of different colors. I would imagine Dick would have done it right in the front.
And he had to do that makeup like every day, right?
Oh yeah.
And he
had to do makeups every day.
The priest
Mm.
and the Linda Blurs, no?
Yeah.
The priest, I can understand because of the prosthetics that it was like easier, but how do you do it with the scars on Linda Blur? Like, do you like, is it this like a map where you know where to put exactly the?
Well, there's a technique that I've used. Well, a million people have used, where we would, if we had a life cast, and we would vacuum form plastic over it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
just make a plastic shell, and then you cut out
Yeah.
like where things go. You put it over, and you can airbrush,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to make a map.
That's how he did it.
Dick, well, I don't think that's how he did it. He just knew it's like they go in these places, and it just fits in these places.
But that's amazing.
You know, he was an amazing guy. If you look at video, I know it's like Rick Baker is like the best makeup artist ever, and Dick Smith is too. You look at those guys applying makeups, prosthetics. I mean, not even talking about the concept and the conception of how I'm going to do this, what I'm going to do. I was always amazed how Dick could take a little light, it weighs like a feather, piece of foam, and glue it down and not like fumble it or anything. It was just like, he was so, this is what I do. You know, it was amazing. He knows where all those pieces go.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Wow. Sometimes I cannot imagine like being learning next to him, you know. I just like I've told you before, I just saw him once when I was in LA,
Right.
when I went like to see, and they invited us, and he was like just standing behind me, and I just turned, and he was just like saying hello with his four-handed four fingers.
Oh, well, that's. He told me a funny story when he went to Iraq on the Exorcist.
Yeah.
Okay, this doesn't start out like a funny story, but Dick wore a wedding ring, and he was on a job, and he jumped off something, and the ring pulled all the skin off his finger, and so his ring finger was destroyed. And Dick thought, well, instead of just making it like that, what if you took this bone out, and then it made my hand look a little bit more regular?
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor was like, okay. So they did that. When he went to Iraq on The Exorcist, when you go to a foreign country, usually they give you a translator, like a guy that helps you around. And one day, Dick was saying, the guy said, I'll teach you how to count to 10 in Iraqi. And the guy goes, I don't know what it is in record, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And Dick goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the guy's like, wait a minute. And Dick was just thinking it was funny, you know. And they went through it a few times. And Dick loved that story, that it was just like, it didn't bum him out, really. It was just like a funny thing. And he was just kind of messing with this guy.
Yeah.
Because he went through it again. It's like, wait, count your fingers. 1, 2, 3. Because his hand looked normal because that bone was taken out. And the guy couldn't figure it out until finally he was like, ah!
That's nice. Okay, Kevin. So let's just talk about this one last one.
Okay.
Help me. How did that happen?
Well, Dick heard a story from the two Bow brothers, George and Gordon Bow, about how different chemicals affect foam latex.
Okay.
The basic material that was used. It can sometimes make it swell up, like just inflate. And then it's a solvent, and then when it evaporates, they go back down. There's a scene where Linda Blair is trapped. The demon is taking over her mind, but she's still in there, and she sends a signal, and she makes her body say, "Help me." What Dick remembered that, you know, how different things react with the materials, and he used trichloroethane, which was the safest of the materials that we used back then. And then if you put trichloroethane on foam latex, it would make it like puff up. And then in a little while, as it evaporated, the foam latex would go back down.
Wow.
And like, oh, that's a weird thing. Dick, being the genius that he is, thinks, I'll use this. Like, how is it? I wanted it to say, help me. And it's like, I'm there. You know, Dick is like, I got it.
Wow.
He experimented with trichloroethane. It was a little bit difficult because we've worked with foam latex so much. You know, it makes the skin on it. What he did was he took a pin and he just scratched, help me.
Okay.
Barely break the surface. And then he took a paintbrush and trichloroethane and he wrote, help me. And they filmed it and it started to puff up. And then they took like a hairdryer and shot it on it so that it would evaporate out and go down. And they just played it in the film in reverse.
Wow.
So you're watching the reverse of it going down. Yeah.
But that's amazing. It's like, yeah, randomly sometimes, you know, you will never know when you're gonna use it. But guess what? There is just this movie.
You know, that was Dick. He was like an encyclopedia in his head. I'll tell you. Have you ever heard of a movie called Videodrome?
No.
Well, we could talk about that one. Videodrome is a movie directed by David Cronenberg. It's about a guy who goes crazy. It's a little bit dated with the concept from the early 80s of videos might infect your brain.
Okay.
But it's kind of cool. There was a scene in the movie where he has this giant old-fashioned console TV, like from the 60s or 70s, like it's a big wooden box with a TV in it. And he's watching it and he's starting to go crazy. And the thing starts breathing
Mm-hmm.
and moving in veins, like it has veins on the surface, you know. And he said, what is this? And so we are going to make this. And I was working at Rick Baker's shop at that time. And we actually got a giant old console TV, made giant ultra-cal plaster molds of it, cast it out of this smooth-on urethane, and tried to assemble this giant thing with bladders built into it and everything. But on the front of it, that the movie camera is going to see, there were gaps between like a couple of the pieces, you know, like where you have the volume knob or the channel knob. And we were like, because you couldn't glue this shit together, the stuff together. It would just like separate. And it's like, well, what are you going to do in there? And we were looking at it, and we were always there at like midnight or, you know, 3 a.m. or something. And it's like, I don't know what to do. And so it was one afternoon. It's like, I don't know what to do. I can't make anything glue together. And Rick goes, call Dick up. Ask him. And it's like, really? So okay. So I went to the phone and I called Dick Smith up. And it's like, hey, Dick, we got this TV prop thing. We can't figure out how to fill the gaps. And Dick's like, use apple pectin. It's like, I have no idea what that is. He goes, apple pectin. It's basically like jelly. It's like stuff they use to make jelly. He was always looking at these alternate things to do. And it's like, I went back and I talked to him for a while and I was like, all right, where do you get it? Like at that. He goes, you go to the supermarket, you find it, and you just mix it up and make it. Well, all right. I went back and told Rick, and Rick's like, okay. And that's what we used in the movie. There's apple jelly in the TV.
And it fixed it.
It fixed it. Dick. It was crazy. It's like, and it wasn't just us. I mean, there was so many people. You will hear hundreds of stories if you ask around of people calling Dick Smith up with a question, and he was so kind to just answer like anything you want to know. If I know it, I'll tell you.
Of course.
Or let me think about it for a second, and he'd come up with it.
But it's amazing because I don't know, sometimes I think that's something it's missing in a lot of us or people. I don't know of us, but people like in the media or in the industry or whatever. I don't know. I'm not talking about everyone, but at least some of them like to share. You know, it's like no, it's like I don't want to tell you. I don't want you to know, and it's not even like a difficult answer. It's just like thinking about something out of the box. Just that. It's like with the apple.
Yeah, go use this stuff. And it's like, I never heard of it, but okay. And Rick was like, Dick said. It's like, okay. But that, you know, it used to be that the business was very protective. Like we said, like if I came up with this idea, that's my idea. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not like you figure it out. Yeah. Dick wasn't like that. He was just like, oh, you know, I did it this way.
Yeah.
Because he wanted stuff to get better. You know, so if I found a better way to do this, so I'm going to share this with everybody, so everything will get better. He had that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
You know, like a very sharing, caring, giving kind of person, you know, and it was very different than what had gone before, and it always kind of inspired me. Like when starting teaching and things like that, it's like, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
It's like, they told me everything, I'm going to tell you everything, because that's the way it should be.
Thank you. Okay, that's. I think that's also the reason why we, like we said in the beginning, that's why we chose this movie. It's an amazing movie, yes, but also it's a good movie to talk about Dick Smith, to talk about the guy that inspired us, that taught us a lot, and then yeah, that's it.
Any thoughts on upcoming movies to chat about?
Nah, I'm really looking forward for the vampires.
Cece wants to fly.
The Fly, yes. We already have the vampires, the Fly.
We'll do Lost Boys, Friday Night.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
Werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves.
I've been involved with a couple of werewolves.
I know. Yes, I'm looking forward for the vampires and the werewolf. The Fly also, but I think it's like, for me it's more exciting the vampires.
Well, we have a lot of time to kill.
Yeah.
At this point.
Okay, let me just. I'm gonna stop the video, but thank you so
We'll
much
talk
again.
after. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Adios.
Adios.
Enjoyed it. Just a little chat.
Just don't throw up the pea soup.
No. I'm going to throw this in the. I don't want to eat this.
Yeah, no.
I bought this for the video.
I was about to ask you that. Are you gonna even eat that?
Oh.
Okay, Kevin.
All right. Bye, everybody.